Good evening, fellow ghouls and specters alike. It's your ghost host with the most, Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And Jean Bon Jacob Weil.
Here to engage in some haunted holiday hijinks by trudging through the catacombs and dusting off the cobwebs to recount a spooky selection of Halloween classics.
So, light the jack-o'-lanterns, suit up, and grab the candy dish as we revive and recount tonight's spooky selection. Courage the Cowardly Dog, Heads of Beef. Oh God. I bet this was Jeffrey Dahmer's favorite episode.
Well, we know he loves him a fetal pig, so sure.
Hey, Dad, I saw this show on TV. It's called Courage the Cowardly Dog, Dad.
Hey, Dad, you ever see Courage the Cowardly Dog? It's really good. We should watch it someday. I saw a little dog walking around the place. You know, he's kind of like roadkill. Maybe we could do something with that.
Oh God.
This kind of reminds me of that one serial killer that joked he was inspired by an Invader Zim episode.
Oh God.
Oh geez, a little bit.
Very terrifying.
So,
very terrifying.
So Courage has been a staple of Haunted Holiday Hijinks, and we have not run out of iconic episodes because I think this one is honestly, I love the punchline with this one, to be sure. But like through like 95% of the runtime, especially as an adult, I think this is a rather morbid experiment in like subverting expectations.
It's subversive.
So I had a ton of fun with this one. I think the design and voices on the two pig characters in this episode are just
Jean Bon.
What?
Jean Bon.
Yeah, it's his name, Jean Bon.
Yeah. I just think it's just a super duper memorable like one-off Courage villain.
And he's not even really a villain in the first place.
That's the best thing about this episode. Let's be honest, the fact that it is a Courage episode, unlike every other Courage episode.
It really is just about Courage's paranoia getting the better of him.
Yep, the fear of paranoia.
It's like, though to be fair, considering what Courage has seen, it really wouldn't be out of the ordinary to consider, like a Sweeney Todd and Mrs. Lovett of burger joints kind of thing.
And until Eustace comes back for other episodes, as far as he knows, he didn't get really corrected. Like, no, it wasn't a sick and twisted place.
And speaking of Eustace, he was fairly reasonable for the most part in this episode.
Yeah, but he still could have been nicer. Like, Muriel or Scone.
Sure he could have been nicer, obviously, but he still took Courage and took Courage to the restaurant and gave him and even ordered some food for him.
Let me ask you this: do you think Eustace gets the scone when he eventually comes back?
Probably not.
Ah, there you go.
Who are we kidding? Come on.
Yeah, probably not, but there's no way for us to know.
Yeah.
All right, well, this episode's pretty simple. So, Dragon, unless you got any background, I suggest we just kind of start from the beginning and just go through it.
Well, I just wanted to say, not background per se, but this has always been one of my favorite Courage episodes because it is so unlike unlike the rest, and it's always been very memorable for that reason. It's just
this episode actually kind of gave me a love of roadside burger stands, believe it or not.
Yeah, it is quite homey.
Rewatching this episode,
is very homey in spite of the circumstances.
Rewatching this episode actually put me in the mood to make burgers myself.
I know, dude. It totally
does. Isn't it insanely kind of burger and diner kind of like this? Like, just give you that, kind of a thirst for. Did you notice the cake? We'll get to the cake later, regardless.
Oh God!
Unfortunately, I wasn't in the mood to cook, but because I ordered a sandwich instead. But it definitely got to make burgers in the next few days.
Jacob, will those burgers be big and juicy?
Well, probably more like small and juicy because I cook them in like a pound of beef and it's only good for like 3 small ones.
So the smallest you got?
So the smallest I got, yes.
Okay,
but 3 of them.
All right, slider time. Okay, so we're gonna break this down. All right, so we start the episode. Poor Muriel, sick as a dog. Thank goodness a dog is looking after her. Courage, the cowardly dog, to be exact. Now, of course, Eustace here, typical fashion. Eustace, he's hungry, he wants his dinner. And specifically, he wants a burger. One could say if Dean Winchester were here, he'd say it's burger time. But there are no burgers in sight. So what's a Eustace to do, my friends?
Well, you know how Scooby-Doo had a crossover with Supernatural? It would have been pretty interesting if if Courage had one too.
It would just be great if Dean Winchester's met all the talking animated dogs. Wouldn't that just be wonderful? Because they'd be really at home with Courage, only they'd be able to fight
Jabberjaw.
Oh, God. well, technically, if you think about it, there's only 2 degrees of separation between Courage the Cowardly Dog and Supernatural.
That's the thing, though. It has to be the talking dogs, though, because we mentioned Marmaduke and we've seen Scooby.
Oh, God.
We gotta have him meet. Well, again, Snoopy didn't talk though, but still, having them meet Snoopy be adorable.
And considering Scooby's technically crossover with both of them.
Yeah, I know, which is
I said there's like only 1 degree of separation.
Basically, Scooby-Doo, one of the most adaptable properties this side of Batman. Let's be honest, because he's even met Batman. He's met Batman. He's met he's met the supernatural guys. He's met Courage Cowardly Dog, and the list goes on. He's met I'm sure some of the WWE members. Met a lot of people.
He's met Batman at least a couple times, actually.
That's what I'm saying. He's met at least 3 to 4 versions of Batman.
All right, moving on in the episode.
Minimum 3. So, point being, Muriel's sick, can't cook. Eustace wants a burger, so I'm going out to eat. Kind of like the old man from Christmas Story. We are going out to eat. So, Muriel, very sickly, is asking them, like, bring me a scone from the Sweet Stuff Bakery.
And I think, like we already established, she's not getting that scone.
Probably not.
Probably not. But
well, and you just finished rewatching the episode. I don't think she had a scone at the end.
I don't think so. No.
No, she did not have a scone at the end.
I mean, I don't think Kurt. I think Kurt's just too scared to pick it up on the way back too.
Well, yeah.
Because technically, Courage could have gone to get the scone on his way back.
Well, does Courage have cash though?
Well, yeah, he's paid for stuff before, I believe.
I know that's what I'm saying. He's paid for stuff before. Maybe he was tapped out. Plus, it's not like he was able to go to the bank or anything before he left. I mean, it was just like he's had to put the. So what happens here? So Eustace's like, okay, again, kind of the classic husband who loves his wife despite just like, man, I'm so old and curmudgeonly. So he Muriel asked Courage to go with him because Eustace always gets the wrong thing when he goes out. So if he went to the bakery, he wouldn't get a scone, he'd get something terrible. And so of course Courage is like, I know I'm not gonna like this.
All right, really quick, we have a Tom Beast in the comments. He just says this is one of the few episodes that Eustace got one over on Courage. The only other episode was Freaky Fred.
Fair point.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right,
so let's see. So Courage just kind of whisked away. He's putting the collar on, not really any time.
How nostalgic and comfy and like I don't know, man. This whole neon sign, the whole burgers, real cheap.
Burgers really cheap.
It just hits a nostalgic like core memory center for me, I think.
Yeah,
I can't even really put into words why. It's less about the show itself and more about like childhood memories that I have. By the way, of course, they drive right by the bakery, of course.
Yeah, I'm getting my hamburger. Oh, I'm getting my hamburger first.
Oh God.
I think that's like there's like a homespun like by the bootstraps. Like, you know what? We don't have big advertising budgets. We're not like a huge chain. But
Exactly.
We can put out a billboard.
It's one of those roadside greasy spoon burger joints.
Totally. And it's like I have been to my fair share of these places in my life on road trips, and I don't know, man. There's just something very homey about it.
Do you know what something? You want to know something truly terrifying about the diner, though? He puts the cheese above the lettuce.
Oh, that is terrifying. Ooh, I don't like that.
If you look at the burgers he made, it's like he put like the burger, the lettuce, the tomatoes, and then the cheese.
Mm.
See, now I'm just thinking back to one of the great SpongeBob episodes, the pickles episode of SpongeBob, where it's like, okay, well, he always sees is like you're literally listening out to the way to stack the Krabby Patty.
Yes, basically, and same thing happens there too. They don't put the cheese directly on top of the patty.
Extra onions, not the tomatoes, pickle, and bun.
It's like you're supposed to put the cheese on top of the patty so it melts.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm. That's how cheeseburgers are supposed to.
However,
be made.
sometimes the Krabby Patties, real quick, the Krabby Patties made with, if you look at the King Neptune episode, it's the patty, the pickles with little squirts of smiley faces of a little ketchup on them, and then the cheese is a blanket.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Anyway, just to get back on track here. But yeah, it's the homespun quality of like, if we could advertise, let's put up the billboard. Which in retrospect, Tiki, when you think about Bates Motel, wouldn't that have solved a lot of normal Bates' problems? You just had a billboard in addition to the one that was giving you trouble?
Burgers, real cheap.
Well, less that, but sure. I was thinking more like
Norman, you like to make burgers, don't you?
Yes, mother.
We can use your roadkill. All right.
Okay, that's not.
Or like Bates Motel, nice and cheap.
You see, Dad, this show Bates Motel, Dad. All right.
All right. Anyway, no, but
Oh,
seriously,
Jesus Christ, that's going to be a running joke for us, isn't it?
no, but seriously, the thing is, she always hated this. The signs were like always encroaching on her business. If they just gave her a sign for the Bates Motel, wouldn't that have solved so many
Right,
problems?
yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, God.
So, point being, we go to this diner.
You stupid piece of shit, you sign!
Yep. God. Sign! Just kicks it. Ow! Anyway, so they have this classic diner, like the old kind of like dining car sort of like diner. However, you'll notice, if I recall, no tables, only a counter.
I mean, that is like a kind of like a standard '50s diner kind of thing.
That's the thing, because nowadays, I think the modern diner, like modern in a sense, it still may look like a '50s diner, but you have like the counter and the booths and stuff. So
this is very much especially like built out of the trailers. That sort of design. I feel like I feel like it's a pretty standard design.
It's absolutely a roadside diner, for the traveler.
I mean, keep in mind these two examples don't really have like the eat at the booth kind of thing that I'm about to mention, but like the 50s diner from Universal in Orlando that I think
Mel's Drive-In, yeah.
I mean, that kind of has like a 50s motif. It kind of has like a bar you can order at almost, but it's not exactly like this.
Yeah.
And also Steak and Shake.
Yeah. Well, the fact of the matter is, it's like people are just going to be passing by, so they're not going to be staying for a long time and get their food, and they're going to get out. That's all.
Which makes sense considering the best burgers in the middle of nowhere.
Yep. So that's I just want to talk about like how I love how kind of cramped and simplistic it is. Just you have that counter, you have the jukebox, and then you have like this little little slice of cake on the end under the glass. I mean, seriously, look at that cake.
It's a
Dragon, I think we've established over the years, like cake animation above all other food animation. It's just hard to mess up.
I mean, Sleepy Hollow. I mean, that's the top tier.
Sleepy Hollow is the gold standard. Yeah,
cake and pie, and amongst other foods. But let's just say those two very.
You mean from Mr. Toad?
Yes.
And if you're talking about good food animation, you can't also beat the pizza from Goofy movie.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But I was.
Of course.
I was trying to focus on the cakes
from
and
Goofy
pies.
Movie, man, that drippy cheese.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, we're going to go down like a food rabbit hole here, but we're going to in a few seconds because
bacon and eggs.
All right. Can we direct it to when we get the actual food for this episode, please?
Okay.
But yeah, it's definitely we're definitely visited like one of those truck stop diners like this.
Yeah, there's a charm there. Speaking of charm, we have a guy who's got charm for days, a pig who's got charm for days. We have
John Bond.
John Bond, John Bond, who is the pig who runs the diner.
My name's French, but I'm not.
Which is delightful. So he's they have this patron, this very unique looking patron, kind of dumpy guy with the mustache and the hat and everything. And he's eating the burger that's making Eustace kind of salivate at the mouth.
It does look like a good burger, to be honest.
No, absolutely. All these burgers look great.
We'll get these burgers served at Halloween Horror Nights, please.
Like I said, except for the fact that they put the cheese on top of the lettuce, the burgers do look good.
Maybe it's a regional thing.
I mean,
Maybe.
honestly, with Halloween Horror Nights, I could see them actually having like the meat statues of the faces. Like that's
Like,
That
something
would
I
be
could see
great.
them actually doing.
Do you know what? Like, do you know who else would do something like that? Who I've actually been watching lately? I've been recently binge watching, like playing up binging with Babish,
Hmm.
and you know the guy who like makes all like the food creations from like TV shows and stuff. Like, it'd be kind of funny if someone actually convinced him to make one of the heads of beef.
All right.
Sorry, I just been watching him lately.
Anyway, so point being that the patron excuses himself, seemingly to use the bathroom. He goes down the side to where this red door is, and we don't see him.
Yeah,
Don't
this
see him
is
for a
where the
long while.
suspense of the episode starts to kick in, and we kind of get into Courage's headspace.
This
And
is
all
something
you-
kind of cool. Just the fact that the place is so so small. It's like the fact there's only one exit, and then there's that door, and
Mhm.
he's not coming out.
And the only thing you hear is the sound of a cargo truck driving by.
Yeah, which again, classic diner thing. You're always hearing like trucks and things whiz by. So now we have John Bond. The idea that John Bond loves to kind of chat up the customers and everything, gets in like little factoids. My name is John Bond. The name is French, but I'm not. And he's
And
just going
Eustace
on
is like having none of these pleasantries, man.
Which
No,
is kind of
he is not.
Yeah, it's kind of it's like apparently, but his name is actually a play on the French word for ham.
Really? I did that. Really? That's what it is?
Yep, jambon. Like
That is delightful.
Let me actually fact check that real quick. Translate.
But I love how, in spite of Eustace being a total dick, he just goes straight into professional server mode. Like Eustace is like, I want food. All right,
I
what can
want to
get you?"
eat.
Yep, yeah, and the French word for ham is jambon.
There you go. But yeah, so you're right though. He goes consummate server. It's like he just uses I want to eat, and his John Bone's like right and taking it down. Is a burger big and juicy, and of course here's Courage just snowing, like something small for him, smallest you got.
Which, to be fair, is actually still a fairly sized hamburger.
I know, yeah, it was still looking rather satisfying.
You can probably imagine Jean Bon gets all kinds of types at the truck stop diner.
Yeah.
I mean, considering it's a truck stop, and heck, he even gets professional culinary museum courtesans. So he pretty much gets all kinds of types there. I think one surly old man isn't gonna bring him down too much.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, but John Bond's actually a pretty pleasant guy for the most part.
So let's see. All right. So then, okay. So then we have. I love John Bond's he has kind of this. We're playing at the paranoid that John Bond is a rather nice fellow, but he does have a creepy smile, and everything he says does have somewhat of a sinister tone to it. Yeah, but let's see. So John Bond here, he's looking at Courage, and Courage is a little put off there, and he sees just John Bond taking the guy's hat and bag, and Courage is like, "Oh, because you're noticing that guy's not coming out. What's he doing with this stuff?"
I love this little exchange because John Bond is just like, I'll save it for when he gets back.
Until he gets back.
Courage gives the most timid yeah, sure, smile and nod.
And what I find funny about that particular instance is that that's actually when I watched on HBO Max, that's actually the image that they used to.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Oh, that's funny.
It's you can actually see that big smile on his face when you start to look at the episode.
And then of course it just fades away. I don't trust that guy. We're saying so much without having Courage talk. It's great. Anyway, so
something strange is going on here. My name is what is it?
Stinky Lulu, and thank goodness it's not.
Thank goodness it's not.
So I guess by the end of this episode, that means Courage's new name is Stinky Lulu.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to remember that for the next Courage that we cover on next year's Haunted Holiday Night.
Today's selection is Stinky Lulu, the cowardly dog.
Oh, good. Anyway, so So that was occurs against it. So after they like, thank goodness it's not. The burgers, these delicious looking burgers come out. So now
for
let's
real,
go
dude,
gush
for
about it.
real.
Except for the cheese.
Except, forget about the cheese. Look at this animation
I
royalty here,
wouldn't be
man.
worried.
Look
You
at
know why I'm not worried about the cheese? Because I always order my burgers without cheese anyway, so it doesn't really like how they prepare the cheese is moot. If they serve it to me with cheese, I'll be like, "Take it back, sir."
Like, hey, I love cheese, so
And
I
I'll
can't
use
have-
it. I'll use a British accent. I like blue cheese. I'll have blue cheese on a burger, but if that's not an option, I just kind of tend to go for just mustard ketchup.
mustard. Bleh.
Oh yeah. Oh, you don't like mustard on a burger?
I don't like mustard on anything.
Ooh, I love mustard. Anyways.
I mean,
Like,
this is a really random tangent. How aesthetically pleasing, even if you don't like it, Jacob, how aesthetically pleasing is mustard?
Okay, I mean, I don't really find mustard aesthetically pleasing. I mean, if the yellow meshes well with the look of it, I guess it would look.
That's what I
aesthetically
mean. Like, just like on like classic on a hot dog. I'm not saying you ever have to get a hot dog mustard on, but like, look at that
most of-
color contrast. Isn't that nice?
I mean, most of the time I've seen it's just like this dirty brown, like splattered all over the place. Not like like the serpentine squirts that you see.
That's
in,
what
like,
I'm saying. I'm like
cartoons.
assuming you get like the serpentine, like anyway.
Oh, we have Atomic Beast.
Yeah.
I always love how the burgers have thick, big patties. Biggest you got.
Yeah.
And I went to a burger restaurant where you could order a burger tailor made for you.
Yeah.
Well, I know that the Whopper bar at Universal City Walk, which is more than a Burger King, it's apparently just a Whopper bar. You can get uber specific with how you order your Whoppers there. That's probably not what you're talking about, Atomic Beast, but
I was actually considering going there when I went to Universal last year.
ooh, did you do cowfish at all?
No, I did not.
Oh, cowfish is delicious. Anyways,
I'll maybe consider those two next time I go.
I would strongly recommend cowfish.
All right. I mean, I'm not a big fan of seafood, so that might hamper it a little bit.
It doesn't matter because their star menu item is actually cheeseburger sushi, which does not involve fish at all.
Yeah, all right.
Well, regardless, I love how tantalizing this thing is animated, in which it comes down. There's like it's already huge in size, and the plus uses is hungry, so we've kind of built up the anticipation. And of course, you're thinking, man, that is one tasty looking burger, and then Courage is kind of pressured.
Yeah, Courage actually begins to eat the burger himself. Maybe, who knows? Maybe he's thinking it's not so bad after all. But
I think he's trying to placate. John Lon's looking at him in that creepy way, and then he says, "Okay, I'm gonna eat the burger."
He's like, okay, then he grabs the bottle of catsup, which is what is written on the bottle.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah.
Yes, and then he's like, he sees it, gets scared, screams. Then we see what he sees. Looks like the man that disappeared earlier.
Dragon, you know what I realized?
What do you realize?
This episode is like a very, very, very tame version of the turkey sandwich scene from Dahmer.
I mean, yeah, well, I don't know if I necessarily call it the same.
Just like the ambiguity of if the sandwich is what he says it is.
I mean, true. By the same token, though, you don't have the whole. You don't have like a side of it going like, "Eat it, dog. Eat it.
True.
Promise me you'll eat the sandwich." Or my name's not Jean Paul.
I used to be a butcher.
I used to be a butcher. The sandwiches they're quite good. This is good meat. It's really good meat.
Unlike the meat that's been stinking up my basement.
Anyway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sorry if that's in.
Yeah,
bad.
I'm sorry, folks. Evan Peters, Jeffrey Dahmer is a running joke now, I guess.
That went all over my punchline, but thanks.
It's like sorry if that's in poor taste.
I stole. Oh.
I didn't steal it. I was completing it for you.
Yeah. All right. I was gonna say. Anyway, we're gonna move on.
Do you want to say it, Dragon? Do you want to say the punchline?
Forgive us, folks, if that's in bad taste.
Yay! See, Dragon said a joke. Yay!
It's because he eats people.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, so Courage finds a familiar face literally on his food.
Yes.
And he panics. And of course he's like, "Is there something wrong?" And he's like, "No." He's just like slow. He's like, "No,
But
no, no."
it's kind of. I mean, basically, we're talking spoilers here, but everybody basically knows this episode by now. But you could probably tell that John Bond, when you first watch it, probably think that he's like, is there something wrong? Like, it's like I know what you're complaining about, but what is wrong?
I think the episode's got more of a Twilight Zone thing at the end of the day.
But when we rewatch it and knowing the truth, it's like he's legitimately wondering what Courage is freaking out about.
Yep. Now, it's funny. When you think about network censor, well, I'll save it later when we get to the actual reveal. Regardless, it's point when Courage is starting to kind of get really weird at. But oh god, there's faces. Basically, there's a lot of shades of Soylent Green is people.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like I said, it's basically Soylent Green or Sweeney Todd.
He tells him it's the special. It's his wife's special.
Head
of beef.
beef.
Oh god.
Oh god, it's just so Courage, of course, as he tends to do, he tries to pantomime a warning to Eustace, trying to tell him what he saw, falls on deaf ears, and he's like they blowing himself up, I'm the fat guy on the burger. And Eustace, of course, like ooga, booga, booga, pulls out the mask, scares him, and he ends up fleeing down the red door.
Oh god.
Into the basement.
Tiki, not the red door.
Indeed.
I'll pretend I understood that reference.
Oh, it's not. I thought it was funny. I really wasn't referencing anything.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, should I understand this reference?
No, I just thought, you don't want to go down the red door.
Well, Dragon, when you do something like that, usually it's because you're referencing something.
Yeah, every other time, but not this time.
Oh god.
Like this one time you're not referencing something.
Exactly.
All right.
Band likes to keep us on our feet, Jacob.
Indeed.
Those, yes.
Well, on our feet, on our toes, same thing. The feet are part of the toes, so who cares?
True. Okay, so we're down the red door, and let's see. So we have essentially this. So you go down the stairwell in the basement, and we have almost this, because we're hearing it off screen. It's kind of like a Deliverance, a kind of body horror vibe to all of this, where it's in shadow, and they have the misunderstanding. You see the man's assumedly decapitated, like kind of like head and shoulders on a slab. Honey, there's a new customer with possibilities.
It kind of somehow it reminds me of like either Saw, Hostel, or strangely enough, Fallout 3.
I don't know. I keep getting like a Deliverance vibe in terms of, I don't know, that's not a proper comparison, but I don't know. It's the whole like, make him squeal like a piggy sort of thing, and give him the pig's element of the episode. I don't know, but I don't know. It's the whole like, he's got a cute little dog. A dog. I haven't had a dog in a long time.
Oh my god.
I'm kind of reminded of Fallout 3 in all this situation.
Possibly, given the diner, it's possible. Yeah.
Well, the diner and the fact that one of the things you come across, and there's like in Fallout 3 is like it's like this family of seemingly ordinary people. Then you go to their basement and find out they're cannibals.
Yeah. Are they well mannered cannibals though?
I don't really remember. I think they're supposed to be, but then once you find out the truth, they're kind of like they kind of try to kill you.
Tiki, I got a morbid question for you, but I don't think now's the right time. Okay. Anyway,
she just moves on.
So.
I have a question for you, but I'm not going to ask it right.
Well, I just said I wasn't going to ask him.
That's what I just said.
Dragon, our pig server here.
Yes.
I've always, even as a kid, I've always loved the hospitality here of like, he sees that Eustace is a big fan of the burger, and he goes ahead and just makes one up for him
on the
house. That's
and given the end of the episode, there's no strings attached here. There's no nefarious motives. He's not trying
there is a motive.
Well, right, but it's not a nefarious one.
No, you're right. Not a nefarious motive, but he's doing that free burger thing. One, because he's nice, but two, he is trying to keep him there, to schmooze him. He's trying to schmooze him.
That's mighty neighborly.
And when you're done, my wife would love... Now, here's my favorite part of the episode, by the way. I'm waiting to talk about this for the whole year, by the way.
Oh, God,
okay. Hopes that we were going to talk about Heads of Beef, because I always wanted to talk about this. I love the double entendre of, like, the big, like, my wife would love to meet you.
Love to meet you. Yeah.
I know. So I love the fact that meet you, every time we rewatch the episode, it's like, oh my God, it's so clever. Like, meet you is like what she calls the meat sculpting. She wants to meet you.
Oh my God. Right.
That is freaking adorable. I love that. It's clever. It's a great little foreshadow to what she would love to meet you.
And of course, Courage takes that the wrong way.
And Eustace is very ungrateful. Yeah. Yes. It's just like, yeah, sure. Just give me the free food.
And when he gives the free food, you could easily be lured into thinking that he's just trying to fatten up Eustace.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see. So Courage, he runs, he jumps on the face, and he gets thrown off. I'm trying to eat. Can't you see? I'm sorry. Can't you see I'm eating? That's what he says. But anyway, so we have this bit where then, of course, hey, you're done. You look done. My life, and this is intimidating. Here's the thing with Jean Bon. Again, Jean Bon, ultimately very innocent, but again, guy needs to work on his people skills not in terms of the pleasantries, but in terms of Jean Bon, maybe say things a little less sinisterly.
Tone. It's the tone, Dragon. He's got a tone problem.
A tone problem.
And also potentially a personal space problem.
There you go. It's like she loved to meet you right now when he jumps over the counter. It's like, how is that not until I want? Like John was like, John, hold on. What are you doing? What? What are you doing? Do you not see how this could be misinterpreted? What if this guy was a health inspector? Think about that.
Anyway. I mean, to be fair, most of the health inspectors probably be not too pleased about there being a dog in a diner.
Well, that is true, Jacob, yes.
Well, then again, it's run by a pig, so who knows? Maybe the health inspectors are more lax in nowhere.
The health inspector's an animal, too.
Well, maybe that is true.
And we got foxes, and
laquacs.
You got giant feet.
And also laquac, so...
Yeah.
So maybe the health inspector's an animal and they're more lenient in nowhere.
Maybe we should reevaluate our preconceived notions of animal species in the world of Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Oh, God.
Our own kind of like preconceived biases and prejudices.
Well, I mean, they're apparently chickens on Earth and in outer space. So.
Yes, and who are we to judge?
Yep.
All right, so moving on. Point being, so we have the chase that goes on here. Courage is fleeing the only way he can flee. He's got to go down the red stairs. The red door.
Red stairs.
He's got to go down the red door
God.
to get to the stairs.
He didn't try to exit, strangely enough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was kind of like halfway there. It's kind of like it's kind of like a fight or flight sort of thing. I'm halfway there. So anyway,
I'm almost halfway there.
Halfway there. So seriously, how great is the idea of like this chase is a very confined space? Like, how the heck are you gonna have a chase scene down here? But it's like his little dog, big pig. One's a little slower. I love how great is the way Jean Bon runs. He has these little tiny pig feet. He has kind of like pogo sticks almost.
He waddles.
Yeah, exactly. He waddles.
It's almost kind of like a Frankenstein sort of pace.
Yeah, and then
and to be fair, it kind of does add to his uncanny nature.
Oh, for sure. And then we
runs around in circles around Jean Bon.
Now, it really sets off the run here as we have in silhouette here. We have the pig wife, and she chows down on the man's head, which is rather terrifying. I think the only reason we can get away with that is because of our reveal. It's the fact that like they can't. The episode is. You think about the episode is rather ambitious because we can't necessarily encourage or depict cannibalism on a kids show.
I mean, technically, to be entirely accurate, it wouldn't be cannibalism since they're pigs and the guy's a human. Cannibalism is the act of eating your own species.
Jacob, I'm so sorry. You're absolutely right about that. Yes. No, you're right. They are pigs. It wouldn't be. Okay, never mind. It's pig eat man.
I mean, it's still messed up. I'm just saying it technically would not be cannibalism.
Well, regardless, even if it were a little unseemly, we have the get out of jail free card. It's not beef. Man. It's beef. Yes. It's a head of beef, but it's beef.
It's no longer living.
Where's the beef? It's right here.
It's under your hat.
But either way, we see her like open her mouth wide with razor sharp teeth and chomp down on what we now know to be the head of beef.
Yep, just like let's say a kid's version of the ending of Hannibal.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we have a little chase going on here, and then she's got plans for you, and then it's just like, I just want you to meet my wife. She's got plans for you, and then the ironing board falls on his head.
If only he would have explained what he meant.
John, stop with the chasing, John. Specifics, John. Specifics.
I mean, and also to be fair, to counter that point though, like. I'm not sure Courage would have listened even if he did stop to explain himself.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, courage is ordinarily. Well, I don't know. Courage is usually kind of forward thinking, but there's a lot of terror and they get a lot of adrenaline pumping. So you may be right.
I mean, but maybe a bit earlier, but definitely not at this point.
That's true. At this point, it's like, oh god, I've just witnessed an act of not near cannibalism.
Well, just an act of eating a person.
Yes, an act of
Like the semantics kind of ruined it.
there's a thing like not decapitation, but anyway, brain food. Case of brain food. So.
but yep, dropping the ironing board on him.
Yeah.
And that brings out his wife, who I don't think is mentioned within the episode. Whose name I don't think is mentioned.
No, we don't mention her name, but we did build up his wife.
You can probably say like her name is Mrs. Bond or something.
So she comes out just like, oh, I could just eat him up. Oh god! And then we just have that pig hoof animation as they're chasing them up the stairs, and I love this. Is what cracks me up. So Courage, after all these episodes, Courage Cowardly Dog. You know what? Courage just kind of hit a wall with Eustace, where it's like he tries to save him. Eustace is clinging on to the counter. And is okay. Screw you. You're on your own, man. I'm getting out of here.
Right.
I love that he leaves Eustace to die. I really do. I love that because he's really earned at this point. Like, I should just screw Eustace. Muriel's not there,
and this is early in the first season too.
It's the first season still.
Yeah, I mean, I believe.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, HBO Max screwed up the order of the episode, so I can't trust that.
Let me double check on that.
Yeah, by all means, but point being, early or not, it's still at this point. After all these adventures, it's like, I keep saving the farmer because it's the right thing to do. But you know what? Even though he did feed me this one time, he tried to feed me a face though. So I don't,
Yep. See, 11th episode of season 1.
All right, good call. All right. Gross. It's just kind of the fact that he leaves him is a good call. So he escapes through the mail slot at the last second. I think it was the mail slot. He escapes through the mail slot, and he's running down the road as the wife's like, "Come back, you morsel, you!"
Again, poor choice of words.
Very poor choice of words. So let's see. So then we have our coda here. We have we have her ending. Then we have her coda. Muriel has her little tea, and she's feeling a little bit better here, and Courage is shivering.
And no scone.
No scone. Oh, don't worry, Courage. Eustace is fine. He always forgets the scone, or he always late getting the scone.
He always gets lost.
Always gets lost, and of course, Courage's like, "Oh, he didn't get lost. He got eaten." And then we have our coda here. So what is our very end of the episode?
The big reveal of what exactly making meat is.
Yeah. So. What is it like to meet Jean Bon's wife? Well, when you meet her, she sculpts your bust in meat. She makes meat bust art, essentially. She sculpts in meat. And we see some of her other work, including, I don't know if you noticed this, Elvis and John R. Dilworth, who we talked to briefly.
Indeed.
Yeah, he wasn't made of meat though, but yeah.
Let go of my bust. Good night, everybody.
All right. Sorry, it's a good pull.
Thank you. And it has a Warner Brothers connection, so.
It does. So, anyway, so we have Elvis and Dilworth, and then of course he revealed the man from earlier. He's there. He was he's like a representative of a museum, of a culinary museum, I suppose, like a talent scout or something.
And I would love to feature your work in my culinary museum. Or culinary museum.
This food belongs in a museum.
So do you.
So let's say so. Of course, then we reveal kind of our moon-shaped image here. We have Eustace's head sculpted in meat with I don't know, it was like a cherry tomato or something. It has a lettuce hat and a bun. Basically, it looks like a burger hat. He's got a burger hat on. It looks really good. And he says, "Oh, it looks so good. Looks good enough to eat." Speaking of which, do we get to eat it? He says, "My wife loves it when customers eat her work."
It's a better honor for a chef is there for someone to enjoy their food.
Yep. So they chow down on Eustace's face, which out of context sounds horrifying, but in this case is quite delectable.
It does look really good, though, to be honest.
It does. Yeah, it does. I mean, Teague, would you eat Eustace's face?
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
If it was just straight, like Angus beef, of course.
Angus Bar in this case.
Dragon, Halloween Horror Nights, they literally have a pizza in the shape of a skull. All right?
Oh, nice.
Do you think they've ever tried like a pizza in the shape of Freddy Krueger?
I don't know for sure. It wouldn't surprise me.
That would be ironic, just given the fact that his face was inspired by a pizza.
Who you calling Pizza Face?
You remember that scene, don't you?
Yes, I do. Yes.
God, this little stick is stabbing the meatballs in the face.
Uh,
Have you ever seen meatballs on a pizza?
Yeah, I've had it a couple times.
So that is a thing, then.
I mean,
right?
it's just.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically just like big sausage on a pizza.
That's what I thought. So I was saying, like, okay.
I mean, I know technically it could be different kinds of meat, but it's essentially just big pieces of sausage on a pizza.
I'm sure the foodies out there are loving this podcast.
I actually like meatballs on pizza because they get kind of ground into the actual pizza a little bit more.
One of the funniest Abbott and Costello bits is from the TV show, and basically Lou Costello had an irrational fear of meatballs, and it was hysterical. So every time a meatball came out or came into play, like Bacigalup, the Italian chef, who's not Italian, but it was really funny. Kind of like jambon. But it's the fact that this guy was like trying to help him get over his fear of meatballs. So he basically shows him the ingredients that go into the meatball, and he thinks, "Oh, I'm gonna have a nice hamburger." And he pulls out like a meatball on a tray. He freaks out. He destroys the meatball. It's kind of really funny.
The Abbott and Costello question is kind of apropos considering our upcoming debate.
Yeah, I'm threading the needle. We're getting there. Anyway, yeah, so that's the episode. I could just sink my teeth in that little dog game. Woo! That's the end.
Like, none of us can scream like Marty Gradstein.
No.
Oh, no, we cannot. Oh, dear.
No. Unless we're dying.
Do not get into a screaming competition with that man, folks.
Oh, God, no.
Like, he can scream like no other man.
I'm trying to remember, what was
or dog.
Do you remember what the episode, Jacob? Do you remember what the episode was where Courage, like, his scream like defeated the bad guys? Was that the dodgeball game?
Ball of Revenge, yeah.
That was the time. I knew it.
It's like I don't know if that although I don't know if that's like a continuous scream or they just like took a sample and just like looped it over to make it sound like one continuous scream though.
But regardless, I'm just saying the fact that Courage's scream literally defeated the bad guys is pretty cool.
Yeah. Like I don't know, like I said, it is impressive if that would be like a continuous scream from Marty, but like I said, it very well could have just been like, they took a sample and then just repeated like some of the sound bites over and over again to make it sound like one continuous scream.
That episode, man, I tell you, that episode could have been maybe a little plus in terms of our selection of villains, but what we had, though, ended rather strongly. Okay. And that's it.
So yeah, this is definitely a lot of fun to go through again. Like,
yeah,
I mean, a lot of fun. Like as we all said, like first watch, like we can see where it be kind of unsettling, but it actually just becomes kind of funnier and funnier.
Once you do the punchline, it's really, really funny in retrospect.
Oh
yeah, absolutely. It's great on the rewatch.
Like, and I also rewatched the episode that's paired with this one, like the Club Cats episode.
That's another classic for sure.
And definitely that's one of the funniest Eustace moments in there when he's on, like, when he gets, I think that's one of the ones where, like, where he gets, like, flung off the ship and he's still in the chair. It's like, no, sir, not getting out of this chair.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, man.
Oh, God. Anyway.
All right, folks, that's the end of tonight's spooky selection. And our spirits grow weary. But they'll be stronger than ever next time as we engage in even more haunted holiday hijinks. Burgers, real cheap.
Heads of beef.